This episode is going to be a little bit different because I'm by myself and it's just me. And it's going to be me just talking about branding and about social media and some of the things that I'm fucking interested in terms of media and marketing. Oh shit. I am not joined by anybody today, but this podcast is still brought to you by Powerhouse Media. The one thing that I did want to kind of talk about a little bit is just our position as professionals and our position as business owners in terms of what the fuck are we doing? Like, what's the purpose of us creating this podcast and us sharing the insights that we know? Well, we launched Powerhouse Media. And the reason why this is a media company and not just a digital marketing agency or a marketing firm or a marketing company is because the idea that we are limited to just marketing is in a way limiting. I'm a very big believer in innovation and just kind of trying new things and doing things bigger. And as much as I love social media, it's not going away anytime soon. So all marketing is going to be digital marketing, and what that means is that it's going to be media. Like, videos are not going away, audios are not going away, podcasts are not going away, and it's just a way for us to help the community get their story out there, because word of mouth, I know that we kind of got away from that as when the internet and e-commerce first started coming on board, but now it's coming back, and now it's a very important leverage tool when it comes to doing business. It gives you a lot of proof of stake, or social proof, however you want to call it. If you're familiar with influence, social proof is when you prove something without really having to say much. A way that social proof exists, for example, in education, is if you're displaying a diploma of a prestige university or you have a doctorate in whatever field. That gives you the social proof that you basically prove into society that you know something in a specific field. So social media does that, but in business, right? Because in a way it's like your social rating when it comes to business practices. If you fucking suck, then nobody's gonna want to fuck with you. That means that nobody's gonna follow your account or really see you as a entity of influence in whatever industry. I think social media helps with that because you get to address things in real time, whether they're positive or whether they're something that you want to maybe be clear about. Social media gives you that opportunity. So good media is what really makes your social media relatable. It's what makes your mode of communication understandable. I think that there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to the level of production required to produce some of these media outlets or marketing materials. I think that before you start thinking about the type of production and the type of quality and the hardware that goes into it, I think prior to getting to that point, it's important to understand the purpose of you being able to do that. The purpose of what are you even trying to communicate? Like, you're gonna show off your business. Social media is gonna show off your business, or social media is gonna show off your lifestyle. Well, you could set an intention in terms of what are you trying to communicate specifically, and what does that mean for your business as well. I think that once we can understand that, then the story will come out naturally. Then the idea or the topics will be a little bit more organic. And yes, there's certain things that you have to do, like volume, but at the grand scheme of things, you want to be able to communicate who do you want to work with and why. I think that's kind of the beauty. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the slogan of fashion and businesses into brands. And this is something that I reflected quite a bit on it because I was thinking about just what was our mission statement, and what was going to be what do we actually want to do? What do we want to accomplish? What do we want to help with? What do we want to be fulfilled by? And I think that, well, what I've realized is that I think there's this big opportunity when it comes to helping people leverage what they know as a marketing asset for their business. However, the barrier to entry to that is the skill set, the patience, the know-how of these media platforms. I realize that we can't really make things and create things for every business, but we could assist in terms of education and developing a support system to level up a business to go from they just sell this product to they stand by this or they help us with that. It's not just a transactional that we're trying to assist businesses do, is we really want to help them create their own communities. I think that doing business with people that you trust is one of the best things that you could do, is one of the best feelings. I'll give an example of going to a barber. I fucking love doing business with my barber. Every time he cuts my hair, I'm always happy. And I always pay him more than what he asks, right? Like I always tip. I love doing business with my barber. Well, I only have one barber, right? and I don't just go get a haircut. I go see my barber. It's completely different, right? But that transaction, I feel like every fucking business could do that. Could get to a point. The only reason why there's a barrier to entry or there's a difference in that is because there isn't a story associated. There isn't a way to communicate, with your customers until now, because now there's social media and now you can do you can leverage what you're currently doing as a way to get known in the community and build genuine friendships and empower yourself to the word of mouth concept that is what makes a business sustainable, right? So the main difference between a business that could go on without a specific person running it is their branding, right? And their culture and what the business is about and how they do shit inside the business, to where a person that joined the business in the beginning, they could build themselves up to where maybe they, instead of becoming an employee, they can now become a partner of that business. I think that's what's really powerful, and those are the businesses that we want to work with, by the way. Those are the businesses that we're trying to partner with. Because we want to help go from a business to build a fucking brand. And say something like, I know that we do this type of service, but now we want to pivot and open something completely fucking different. We want to leverage our brand, our community, our organic reach. That's the shit that I'm after. Those are the relationships, and those are the businesses, those are the ventures that we're interested in. And that's really what the power of social media. That's literally the leverage point, or the most valuable leverage point of this whole operation. So as things continue to improve and as social media continues to get better and better and better, we're going to be here talking shit about it and just kind of filling you in on what does this even mean for a business. To me, social media is a means of communication, and in my opinion, if you want to do business with somebody, you need to be able to start communicating with them in the beginning, right? Like whether it's a cold call or whether it's, a cold opener, whatever, you need to be able to communicate with whoever. So if you have a business or you provide a service, you need to be able to initiate conversations. Well, in my opinion, social media allows you to scale that intention. And instead of making, like 10 cold calls, it's like every time that you post something, it's like you put a flyer in someone's mailbox. And then the number of followers is the number of flyers that you put in someone's mailbox. But then every time that you post another flyer. So if you think about, if you put 300 flyers in a person's mailbox, they're gonna know who the fuck you are. It's the same thing if you post 300 times a year and you have 300 followers. They're gonna know who the fuck you are. That's a lot of people, And now with social media, the power of social media is you could start kind of planning on whose mailbox do you want to fucking put this flyer in, right? Start targeting people, so. But yeah. And for the ones, or I think that there's probably, this will come up and say, oh shit, man, like I own a lawn care business. Nobody gives a fuck about a lawn care. Well, maybe. I mean, that could be, right? But there's a lot of people that have lawns, right? And I think that what we fail to realize sometimes is that maybe you don't have to necessarily serve everybody in person, but you can serve a fuck ton of people. And going back to this lawn care shit, because it just came to mind. I mean, be mindful. I live in Arizona. We live in Arizona, so there isn't really. I mean, it's very different than if you live in a climate where it rains a lot. Okay, so the landscape here is different, and it's, I think, unique. But I'd say that hypothetically, you have a lawn care business and you want to scale. Well, what the fuck? How do you even leverage social media? Well, this is what I think will work, man. Okay, this is what we do. So if you have this lawn care company, we'll call it lawncarecompany.co, right? That'll be the website. So you have lawncarecompany.co, right? And what you do is you have three main avenues. You could have a catalog, right? Or a what we've done section where you'll kind of display the work that you could do, some of the befores and afters. And from there, you could also even include a store with your brand, right? Because you never know, right? There's print on demand for a fucking reason. Like, you don't know if somebody wants to buy you a t-shirt with your fucking logo on it. Don't knock it till you try it. You can get this built, right? So you have merchandise, and then you could also include maybe some products, like proprietary products that you have, or maybe you white label some products with your branding on it. You can sell it online. In your portfolio section, you could talk about it, like I said, the services you provide, and some of the befores and afters. I would also include price, and then when you do prices, you want to have something at every price point to include something free, and free could be something as simple as a PDF, like guide to whatever, right? The other thing you could do is you could start encouraging your employees to become ambassadors of your business. What I mean by that is get your people to be proud of working where you work at, right? Like the about me's need to be, in a way, like who you are, what you do, like why do you do this, and like with your future here, do you love it? Are you passionate? Are you helping people? Do you feel proud of this? And it's going to be an interesting conversation for whoever tries this, because you have to be in it, right? You have to be in the business for the right reasons. So I think you could include some of these ideas or maybe some bios from your employees, or as a business owner, And I think that you could also include some preferred, like, if you have a passion, right? For example, I'll use myself. So I love fitness or just working out in general. It's something that I do every single day. Well, I have affiliates for, like, I work with the supplement company, and I have an affiliate code or link or whatever. Uh, that could be added to like a website in terms of about me, right? Or maybe something like, for this person could be, I don't know, fucking tennis. So you could add maybe like tennis affiliates, or you could become an Amazon affiliate and do that, right? So that could be in about the company, about this long company. And the last thing you could do is you want to start working on your storyline in terms of your ability to scale. This could be done in a number of ways. There's the blog style, right? Where you hire somebody to take video of you and follow you around. Yes, this is an investment. Like, we're in the business of business, okay? So you have to invest in your own business. You hire somebody to follow you around and to post produce the shit and post it up, or you can hire us. We'll do that too. You can do a podcast where you do something like what I'm doing, just talk about the shit that you're talking about, and then this will give you content for the rest of your social medias. And what this would do is just kind of make your company interesting. Make your company worthy of, in a way, studying, or worthy of the viewer, whoever is looking at stuff. Like, they have a lot to look at. They have a lot to read about. They know shit about you now. So even if maybe they may not be the customer that you want to work with, but if somebody's fucking hating, or somebody is just nosy and they read all about your shit, well, they're going to talk about you in a way that maybe they're talking to somebody that could actually use your services. That's actually in a place where they can actually buy your shit. But what they're going to do is they're going to look you up. And you have a strong social media presence, and you have a badass website, then you're going to get that social proof, and there isn't going to be much going back and forth whether they should engage with you or not. So when they do engage with you, then you already know they're qualified because they're already interested. And then if it's a price thing, it's going to be interesting and kind of work to your favor, because if they're seeking you out, that means that they have a timeline for the most part, or they need that help. So even if they don't line up in terms of, like, maybe it's not today, but maybe it will be soon, or when they do is because they're ready to buy. That's just my opinion. So that being said, I am fucking hyped, and that was just an example of, like, what I call the good idea fairy, right? Where you just talk about what could happen. Well, on to the next thing. I went ahead and found this website called Social Media Today. And what it is to just summarize the latest and the greatest news about what's going on in the technology space and the media space, and what does that mean for us as business owners, and how we're going to use it to better ourselves when it comes to business. The first thing here, the first article that I have in front of me is Meta announces Facebook Reels API to enable reel sharing via third-party apps. This is fucking dope. So if you don't know what this means, okay, so prior to this, the way that it worked is, well, let me break this down a little bit further. At the moment, if you want to post an Instagram Reel or a Facebook Reel, you have to do it manually, or you could do it through the scheduler, but there's certain limitations. A lot of times what happens is it'll only go to as a draft, or you won't be able to select the cover photo, or you won't be able to upload a cover photo. There's a lot of limitations when it comes to using a third-party software when it comes to scheduling, because Facebook wants to fucking hold on to, they want you in the app to post the shit that you want to post, right? They want to make things to where they're in control of the process. So good for them. In terms of scheduling content out, it does make it a little bit tricky. There's ways around it, but you just have to kind of fucking deal with it. So what this means is that now it's going to be easier to use a software like what we use, which is Loomly, to schedule out content. I mean, you could also use Canva. Personally, I haven't used it specifically for Instagram. I've only used it for LinkedIn, so I don't know. I'll probably look into it though, just to kind of understand it a little bit better. But it says here that they're finally... Oh shit, it's because Reels engagement has declined 13% in the recent months. And I think it's because, yeah, it says right here, TikTok is losing, or Instagram is losing to TikTok. A lot of it has to do because TikTok's algorithm is just superior. Instagram's background when it comes to the expectation for content is too high. And even I've noticed myself that when we post something that does really well on TikTok, it will not have the same level of engagement. And what has high levels of engagement on Instagram, I tend to find are the vlog style videos of things that are really pretty, or time lapses, or things that are just very, very aesthetically appealing. That's why I think it's so important to have a pretty grid when it comes to your Instagram specifically, and adding real cover photos as well. It's very interesting to see Meta just lowering the barrier of entry in terms of integration with other creators, because it used to be that in order for you to really make money on Instagram, you just had to have a bunch of followers. That was the first metric. Then from there, it had to do with your level of engagement. It was the like to follower ratio that you had, like a percentage of engagement. And then for a while it was like over 100K with the blue check mark, was like you were able to make it. But it was always it was a platform that had a high barrier of entry for you to be profitable in. With the exception of buying and selling accounts and maybe just having direct conversions from just a brand. It's cool though to see that they're trying to compete and make things a little bit more accessible for more people to leverage it in a bigger way. Because what this means is that you're gonna see a greater volume of reels in the infrastructure of Instagram. And right now, what I had read or heard, I don't fucking know, a couple of months ago, was that actually Instagram was running out of content to push to people, because the people that are on Instagram, the majority of people aren't content creators, or they aren't creating content for Instagram, because the algorithm is so bad that it's almost guaranteed that your photo is not gonna do good, or your video is not gonna do good, unless you're one of these high produced with high engagements already. So it's cool to kind of see this. It's an opportunity to change, and we'll kind of see what happens moving forward. So the next article says LinkedIn looks to improve messages interactions with focused inbox ads, new sales analytics tool. LinkedIn has been consistent. I think LinkedIn is probably one of the more resilient apps. I've only started using LinkedIn since probably 2018, and I'm not the biggest fan of the platform itself. Primarily, and this is kind of, it'll give you an insight on as to why LinkedIn is doing so good. Because LinkedIn doesn't have enough content, and you see what the organic reach on it is incredible. However, I don't follow a lot of people to really, or I'm not very interested in the people that I follow per se, in terms of wanting to continue to read, because every time that you like something, that anybody likes something, it automatically goes in your feed. This is like the old MySpace days. So it's really good though if you want to become known in maybe like a city, or in a specific industry, because the communities are fairly tight when it comes to LinkedIn, and the people that are on there and they're reading and engaging, they tend to have a higher engagement rate per post, just because the posts are very strategic when it comes to business, or when it comes to the intention behind the posts are very strategic, and it's a very good B2B platform. I would kind of align it to like Facebook in 2014, 2016. That's more or less what LinkedIn is, but for B2B specifically. So we're probably going to be using a lot more LinkedIn. Um, I think, as in my opinion, the people that I've interacted with that casually use LinkedIn is because they're either recruiting or they're looking for a job. So there's definitely an opportunity there somewhere. I think LinkedIn is very promising. I haven't seen a significant change in terms of the user interface of the platform. I do think that eventually they're going to implement. I know that they tried the stories and the stories didn't really work, but I think eventually they're going to start implementing some kind of short content, but it's probably going to be with sound off. I just have a feeling that the majority of people that use LinkedIn, are typically, they're using it at work. So I don't imagine LinkedIn being as loud as TikTok and maybe Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. I do think though that there is a space or a place for that type of interface to be introduced to the app, but we'll see. Yeah, I think LinkedIn is doing what's in their best interest. I think that they're trying to still keep it somewhat professional, to where just another Facebook, right? Because I think lose validity or credibility as a legit social media platform. So let's see. I was listening to this talk, and Reddit was brought up, and it's very interesting because it was brought up in passing, and it was brought up how there's a way that e-commerce is tapping into Reddit. I didn't really look too much into it, but I'm looking at this article right now that says Reddit shares new insight to assist in holiday marketing's campaign. And there's an infographic. Basically, what I gathered from this article was that people are now going to two places to search. The first one, well, not two places, but there's this two new spots where people are searching a lot. No, the first one is TikTok, and the other one is Reddit. And the reason why Reddit is so valuable is because it's, in a way, a compilation of every fucking review ever of a product. I think if you were to maybe buy some, just think about, for example, the new AirPods, right? The AirPod Pros 2 that just came out. I'm not sure if they're actually in stores right now, or you can actually buy them yet, or like have they been released. However, I do know that if you go onto Reddit, you're gonna get the truth, right? You're gonna get the truth as to if they're good or not. And I think you could also get that if you read the reviews on maybe like Amazon or eBay or Best Buy. Yeah, you can still get it. I think in Reddit though, it's a much more common place for people to be truthful and to talk a lot of shit. So if it sucks, you're gonna fucking know it. And it's coming from a place of trust. I think TikTok is in the same place. I think it's very interesting to see though that it's now becoming a place where you can now, it looks like you could advertise. So yeah, so Redditors take time to think about where they purchase before they spend their money. they support these businesses. 1 in 3 small businesses, 1 in 4 local businesses, 1 in 7 minority-owned businesses. This is pretty interesting. I think, yeah, I didn't know that you could specifically run ads on Reddit, but I guess you can, so that's pretty cool. Good for Reddit. Good for them. I like them. I did see, and this is another meta news, that, and I watched the video on it, but I'm not sure where this person was getting their information from, but they said something about the Facebook creator portal was going through what they called an upgrade that was only favorable to specific industries. And I think this may be a little bit what they're referring to. The title of the article is called Meta Ads New Tool to Help Promote Emerging Creators on Facebook. Yeah, let's see. So you can earn your spot in the creator space, and you can now label yourself as a creator. Okay. So Meta announced a range of new creator-focused elements, including new endorsement notifications to support fellow creators, new templates to help organize top fans. Ooh, this is like they're bringing back the MySpace top friends or something. Restricted posts, subscribers, and more. Okay. So now you get endorsed by being a creator, and you get notifications, which is pretty cool. And they're testing new rising creator alerts. So I guess you're gonna get notified or kind of promoted as a rising creator, which I think is pretty cool. Oh, okay. So say highlight rising creators is key element in Meta's broader recommendation push, which has been seen in pumping more content from profiles that you don't follow into your Facebook and IG Reels. Okay, so basically this is what they're gonna do. If you become a fucking creator on Facebook or emerging creator, this is what they're gonna do. You're more than likely gonna be pushed to the top of someone's feed without you wanting them. This is gonna say add or promote it or suggest it or you may like. And what you're gonna have to do is scroll right past it. And that's pretty cool from a creator's perspective. I think from the viewer, I think some people may get annoying. I think I may get annoying. I will probably get annoyed by this. So, but it'll work. I think it's very smart. I think it's so interesting just how Facebook is really trying to get people to get back on the app, and they're trying their hardest, and it shows. This article is the last one. This article says TikTok implements new rules to further restrict political ads and donations. Oh shit. TikTok's moving to eliminate direct political influence in the app by implementing new restrictions on what political affiliated accounts can do, which includes removal of donation and ad tools entirely for political groups. Oh shit. So it's interesting. I feel like every fucking article is going to be interesting. Now, I haven't just annoyed myself, by the way, but I think I'm not into... I wasn't really following a lot of politics when it came to TikTok specifically. I don't really know where they stand. I know that Facebook and these other media platforms have been taking a hit in terms of them like allowing certain or being okay with certain types of content and not being okay with other types of content, which kind of swayed viewers a specific way subconsciously. I think TikTok is trying to prevent that from happening to them as they continue to gain validity as a important app or a app that's here to stay, which is interesting because it really makes you wonder if this is going to be geared towards keeping the app a family-friendly app, or is there going to be room for a TikTok style media platform that is completely uncensored but is just as practical and just as useful? I think that's where the platform Rumble, which is the direct YouTube competitors, I think they might have a place there. I think there's another app, I believe it's Verge. I just downloaded it, but I don't know what it's called. That's another up and coming app that is supposed to be challenging Instagram and TikTok's place, or it might just be Instagram. Can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I think things are changing. Things are changing in the way that mass media had an influence on social media. I think that the word of mouth concept and your ability to communicate with people is now going to have to be reflected in your ability to communicate online. And your credibility will come from the things that you say on camera, and maybe the things that people see on their screens, and the way that you act and how you behave in business. That's just my opinion. So that's why I think podcasting is so important. That's why I think the PWRPOD is very important for us. That's why I believe 100% in what Powerhouse Media is doing. And I'm very excited to be in this position where, as the climate changes in terms of the way that we communicate, we're at the forefront of being able to assist the small businesses and the self-employed personnel that are trying to create these communities and help them build their legacy, whether that's in business or just, building a badass product. I think that's super dope. So this was a very interesting episode. It's a little bit shorter than usual, but I am alone and it's just me rambling for 30 minutes. So I hope that this is somewhat insightful. I actually had a good time doing it, and I'm curious to see how I'll keep doing this next week. But I know for sure the next episode I will be back with the crew. So until then, peace.